Side of Asia, China returns to a more familiar role, that of antagonizer. China is back to its usual antics in the South China Sea, or rather, the West Philippine Sea. Chinese Coast Guard ships were at it again. They surrounded two Philippine vessels, a Coast Guard patrol boat and a supply ship. And this was in a disputed region, known as the Scarborough Shoal. The Philippine ships were carrying out patrols and reportedly bringing food and fuel to fishermen in the area. So these were supply ships. But China did not like their presence. Two Chinese ships were pressed into action. They took to either side of the Philippine ships and then they attacked. Parts of the Philippine ship were damaged, its railing and canopy. The Philippines has raised concerns, saying these were dangerous maneuvers by China. Manila has accused Beijing of harassing its vessels. And after seeing the video, how else would you describe it? But Beijing, of course, has dreamed up an entirely different explanation.
Huangyan Island or Scarborough Shoal is an inherent territory of China. The maritime police vessels and the official vessels of the Philippines are intruding into the waters of Huangyan Island without the consent of the Chinese side, thus seriously infringing on the sovereignty of the Chinese side. In accordance with the law, the Chinese Coast Guard took the necessary measures to formally remove them. China advises the Philippine side to immediately stop its infringing and provocative actions and not to challenge China's firm determination to safeguard its sovereignty.
China says it was defending one of its quote-unquote inherent territories. It makes the Philippines sound like the aggressor, which is of course not the case. Look at the map. Scarborough Shoal lies just off the Philippine coast, barely 220 kilometers away. It falls within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. And this is a United Nations convention. A country exclusively controls the sea up to 370 kilometers away from its coast. It's their exclusive economic zone. And the Scarborough Shoal falls well within that limit for the Philippines, but China does not care. It does not follow international law. Instead, Beijing tries to peddle this, the infamous 9-dash line. China came up with this. It first published these 9 dashes in the mid-20th century, and it declared that everything within these dashes was Chinese territory. Everything within the 9 dashes belongs to China. What's the basis of this claim? Apparently, it's been like that since quote-unquote ancient times. And this ancient times argument is something that Beijing loves to use. They use it in every dispute. The Scarborough Shoal, some Japanese islands, even the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh. As far as Beijing is concerned, it was all Chinese in ancient times. So China says it has a right to all these territories. These are all bogus claims. No tax collectors from Beijing were shaking down villagers here in any of the disputed areas. The 9-dash line is not even a serious border document. It looks like some child emperor's drawing, that to a child who could not draw straight lines yet. But despite this, Beijing keeps making claims based on these meaningless dashes, even though international courts have ruled that it has no legal basis. And the Philippines has borne the brunt of this. China seized the Scarborough Shoal back in 2012. It has been harassing Philippine ships ever since. And now Manila says Beijing has put up a barrier around the shoal, a 380-meter floating barrier to prevent Filipino fishermen from accessing the area. China tried this last year as well, but the Philippines cut that one down. They will probably cut down the new barrier as well. And all this just shows what a nuisance it is having China as your neighbor. It's something we in India know quite well, and we wish Manila the best of luck.